Hi, Sportster Paul here with the Analog Diet Week 5. We've lost 15 pounds in these 5 weeks, actually 40 days, 8-day weeks, because I make these bowls for 2 days each and I make 4 of them and then I go grocery shopping every 8 days. But the Analog Diet's how I went from this 318 pounds 3 years ago to this 170 pounds 2 years ago. So we gained back to last year in the pandemic, especially nervous eating, nuts and cheese at night, gained back 20 pounds. We got 15 of those gone. We've gone from size 50 pants to size 34 now. And here's some clip of me clowning around. I found some size 50 work pants I had stashed away. And that's how much weight I've lost. So I'm really delighted by this. Today we're going to make turkey with gravy for sauce. And because it's low fat in the gravy, relatively low, we're going to put gorgonzola cheese on top. So kind of a mild turkey with a heavy cheese. It's something I enjoy. Maybe you'll like it too. We'll also go over the other 3 meals I made. Let's get started. Like always, we're going to start this meal with mushrooms, broccoli sprouts. I tried alfalfa sprouts. They don't last long enough. And then cilantro. While we're doing this, let me get a knife. I want to talk about the breakfast that I made this morning. Every day starts with the same vegetable omelet. The basis of the Analog Diet's lots of vegetables, no refined carbohydrates, bread, pasta, rice, minimal potatoes. I have a little in some clam chowder that I make. And then with the breakfast, I've changed up a little. I'm using Kraft cheese, aged reserve cheese, and that it's a little more calories. So the total calories, 40 grams, 41 grams. The breakfast calories end up being about, let me think, 449 instead of 409. So a little bit more calories in the cheese than when I was putting sour cream, and I change it up. Okay, so that was breakfast. Meanwhile, we're gonna measure this out. I've got a weigh scale. I'll put my buddy's affiliate links for all of the hardware here, the weigh scale and stuff. Zero it out. Measure this. Let's get the rest of this here. And I make a note. Cilantro, 19 grams. This is the ritual part. You don't have to be this precise. I just enjoy kind of measuring it and adding it up and verifying that today I'll have, I don't know, probably 1,100, maybe 1,200. I'll show you at the end how much this paper's tallied up. So that is the first batch of vegetables, what I call the inside shelf, where it's an open shelf. Next, we're going to go get the upper shelf vegetables, which is all bags like this. Here's a picture of that. I'm sorry to be off camera, but you can check the picture out of all the vegetables we're grabbing out of this upper shelf. So here those are. And then while I cut these, let's go over the meal I made at the beginning of this week, which is mahi-mahi with salsa and blue cheese. So here's that. So every morning, 12 vegetable omelet. The vegetables in that spreadsheet that you see I had filled out. Then the omelet, 2 eggs with some evaporated milk to get to exactly half a cup. Stir that up, get that scrambled well. The vegetables, because of this OXO pan that I bought to replace my Scanpan, it tends to get dry in the middle, so I got to kind of herd the vegetables towards the center. Meanwhile, while that's cooking, I pour myself a big diet Snapple. Probably shouldn't drink so much of that stuff. When it's cooked, the vegetables, I pull them all to one side, butter the other side of the pan, get that ready, pour the omelet, then get out a bunch of spices, pepper, cumin, curry, cinnamon, oregano. You can see I've piled the vegetables in the center of that omelet. The spices are off on the right-hand side. Flip the right side over, flip the left, nice and sticky, stick that together. Here's the 6 pieces of cheese, 40 grams of cheese on top, starting to melt. Then get that off on the plate, and Tabasco sauce today, 5 or 6 different hot sauces, and then the Morehouse Sassy horseradish sauce. That lasts me all morning. Then about 2 in the afternoon, I get out the mahi mahi, frozen Publix mahi mahi. You can see there's 368 grams now in the pouches. Throw the pouches in some water, first thing I do, and then add water. That's starting to thaw. Meanwhile, I cut vegetables. After a while, I can cut the plastic off and run some fresh water that's not quite as cold and keep it thawing. After the vegetables are cut, it's thawed out, dry it out on a towel, squeeze them, dry them out on a towel, get them dry, then cut them into narrower chunks that the microwaves are going to be able to get in, and arrange those on a plate. I take 2 paper towels and I wrap those over the plate and then get that in the microwave. I think just 2 minutes is all it took. Meanwhile, while stuff is cooking, I finish all the vegetables. So here's the big bowl with 2 meals worth, all ready to go. I pull the fish out after 2 minutes and notice, see, it's uncooked on the right-hand side. Microwave isn't even. So I take the cooked ones, put them in the measuring bowl or whatever, and then get the uncooked ones spread out even further, pop those back in the microwave, 2 more minutes, if not less. It might have just been a minute, but you can keep checking. You get a feel for it. Then when those come out of the microwave, they're cooked nicely. So I can take these, add them to the ones that cooked the first 2-minute round. And then I wanted to note the plate that I use. Look at how much fat has come out of that mahi mahi and water. So then when I weigh it separately, leave that fat, wash that away, it's only 275 grams. And that's what I calculate the calories against, that weight. So take the fish, just break it up with my fingers into chunks. That works out the best. Spread that all on the top. For salsa, I like Mateo's, which is a Publix brand, or Publix distributes it. 1 cup, that's only 70 calories. Pour that on the top, then stir it up, 12 times, go digging and stirring and getting all that distributed. Do that, what we're going to do later today, measure it and split it in half. So the small bowl and the big bowl, same amount, but look how much food there is for each of those days. Meanwhile, as I finish using utensils and stuff, I wash them, and for recycling, I've got the recycling set out. Also, the food waste, when I chop the food up, it's like some of it that's not used. I don't put it in the garbage anymore. It goes in the freezer until garbage day for recycling. So then the blue cheese, the whole package, but 56 grams a day. So that's all weighed out, ready to go. This happened to be low-fat blue cheese. So it's only 90 calories per serving times 4, whatever that is. Meanwhile, the microwave 2-minute sessions, 4 of them, stirring in between. Here, the nice hot meal comes out of the microwave. Stir it up one last time, then sprinkle the gorgonzola all over, the blue cheese all over it. And that's going to be a great meal. Here's the tally of what it did. 1,048 calories for both days, 524 calories a day. So that's a great filling meal. Then at the end of the day, 5, 6 o'clock, coffee. So total calories for this day were 1,123 calories, well within my budget. All right, that's the upper shelf. These are the same vegetables I put in that breakfast omelet. Now the middle shelf, here's a picture of that. Let me get the upper shelf stuff put away. I leave the asparagus kind of uncovered because otherwise it tends to get a little spoiled at the end of 8 days. So I leave the tips at least uncovered in the drawer. Then I get the middle shelf here. Okay. The middle shelf being a little bigger in my particular refrigerator. Here's all it's all the bagged vegetables. Let's dump these over here. And I cut these up. Let's go over the meal I had last week, which was a shrimp queso, queso is a cheese sauce. So it sounds like excessive with all this cheese sauce. It's low calorie. Check it out when we add it up at the end. I'll be cutting and talking about how I did that meal. All right? Like every day, breakfast, 12 vegetables, big omelet. Start with them, cut them up into this little bowl here. Add a bunch of water, reverse osmosis water, nice clean water I've got. Then toss that into the OXO pan. While that's cooking down, I can do other things like stir up the omelet and get it ready. It is a little high in the middle, so I got to push it towards the center, but that's been working out. Meanwhile, I take my 2 eggs. I get large size eggs, which is really pretty small. 2 eggs in a measuring cup, and then top it off with that evaporated milk, store brand evaporated milk, to exactly a half a cup. Stir that up. Meanwhile, the vegetables are still cooking down. I get out my Diet Snapple for breakfast. I'll have a little caffeinated iced tea, just one of these big 32-ounce glasses. So I pour that out, get that ready, take it over to where I sit and eat. Meanwhile, the vegetables have been cooking down here. You can see I've kind of pushed them together to keep the center of the pan moist and cooking down. Those go on for a while. You can clean and do little odds and ends while you're standing around waiting for that to get cooked. Then when it's done, I pull the vegetables towards the front, towards me, and then butter the pan, getting ready for the omelet to pour. I pour the omelet. I've learned to go from right to left for this pan instead of left to right, and a little more in the middle because it is high. I've got the 4 spices, same 4 spices, pepper, curry powder, cinnamon, and oregano. Sprinkle those on the right side so that the left side stays stickier because that's what's going to fold over. Then get that laid out. So now I've got the omelet pretty much cooked. I top off the middle with some fresh eggs, the rest of the cup. Get it balanced so it's pretty structural, right? So it won't fall apart like it did on me that one show. So then pile the vegetables in the center. It's not too hard to get the spatula under, especially with this brand new pan. It's nice and non-stick. Get the spatula under the right side, flip it over, and take the left side, flip that, pat it down so it's nice and sticky. Get it off onto the plate. It's pretty good. This OXO pan, it doesn't tend to turn as much burned area from the butter. So I really like that aspect. Then I doll it up with some hot sauce. Here it's Tabasco again, just coincidence. Then sour cream and horseradish sauce. So with the sour cream, it's a 409 calorie meal that lasts me from 9 o'clock in the morning all the way till 2:30 in the afternoon. That's for this day. I broke out the shrimp, medium shrimp. Be sure to get the deveined and peeled. I made that mistake once, didn't get it peeled and spend an hour. You can see measuring it out, there's 391 grams with the tails on and some frozen mist in there. So toss that first thing, get that bowl full of water, toss all the shrimp, stir them up so they get water around them. That's thawing while I'm cutting all the vegetables. And for this little photo montage, I decided to take pictures of the vegetables, midpoint while that's thawing. So here I'm up to doing the carrots of the 21 vegetables that get cut up, same ones we're doing today in the show down below. So there we are, about halfway, a third of the way through. Vegetables are getting cut up. Meanwhile, I pretty much finish up. Here's most all of the vegetables. Not the top shelf high calorie vegetables yet, but that you can see the celery and the green beans are on top. Get that going. I wanted to show the top shelf vegetables. Olives is very high calories. I cut them in half because they're strong, but for more importantly, every once in a while, about twice a year, one of them has a pit in it. And you don't want to break a tooth chomping down on an olive with a pit in it. So meanwhile, I've got the vegetables all cooked. There's the high calorie, the peas and the onions and the stuff. Onions aren't too bad. But the high calorie vegetables, olives, peas, they're on top now. Chickpeas. So now the shrimp, I pulled all the tails off, squeeze the tails out of it, drain them a little bit, squeeze them so the water comes out of the middle. Now there's only 250 grams. And that's the calculation we're going to use. Now I take the whole shrimp, and because I like a protein in every mouthful, every spoonful, I cut them in half. So medium shrimp, cut in half. You can see it just paves the whole top of the bowl over. Then I get queso sauce, which is a cheese sauce. I prefer Newman's own, charity sauce. It's a little bit thicker, but they stopped carrying that. So this is just the public store brand. I like the jar better than the paste jar. It's a little easier to get stuff out. 3/4 of a cup is going to work out, and you'll watch how low the calories are going to be when we tally it up. There, stir, 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 twice around, digging down 6 times each time around. Get it stirred pretty well. So there's 2 days' food in the big bowl. I get out the little bowl. I do this, what we're going to do later today. We're going to measure and calculate identical food in both bowls, but look how full. Look how much food you're eating every day in that small bowl. So this is a very satisfying meal. Put the small bowl in the refrigerator. Take the big bowl in the microwave. 4 sessions, 2 minutes each, maybe 3 minutes if you want it a little hotter. Stirring in between each. Same time, just go around once, dig down 6 times and stir it up. All the time I'm tallying up the calories as I go through this, and here's the totals. 856 calories for both, only 428 calories a day. With that rich cheese sauce, it's hard to believe. It's too good to be true, right? So 428 calories. Then that lasts me until 5, 6 o'clock. I make the coffee with, 5-cup coffee with a cup of whole milk, which is 150 calories. I wanted to show I drink about half of that, and it's getting cooler as I sip it over the course of an hour. Then when it's about halfway done, I go add ice and make iced coffee. And when I added all this up for this day with the lower calorie breakfast, sour cream instead of cheese, 987 calories for the whole day, under 1,000 calories. No wonder I'm losing. All right, so that's the middle shelf. Let's grab these up and go and get both the bottom shelf in the refrigerator and the top shelf, which is the top shelf's all the high calorie stuff. So here's a picture of the bottom shelf where all that I have in there is celery and green beans. Not too much stuff in the bottom, even though it's a big shelf, because who wants to bend over and pick all that stuff up? I'll make 2 trips for this. Last thing here. And we had a little minor food supply issue that Publix was out of their fresh English peas, so I fall back. I got a bag of frozen peas I keep. Meanwhile, let's go and do this lower shelf stuff. And while we do that, let's talk about the last meal I had before this one, which was the breakfast and the normal stuff. We'll go over that. And then chicken with a can of chili, which sounds weird, but it was fantastic. So check this out. Okay, like every day, same 12 vegetables that we had listed in that spreadsheet earlier in the show. Reverse osmosis water, toss those in the pan, start them cooking. Take 2 eggs, large size, and enough evaporated milk to get exactly a half a cup. Stir that up, get that going. Meanwhile, the vegetables are cooking down. You can see how it's getting a little dry in the middle. So I kind of push them towards the center with this OXO pan. Then today I decided let's get cheese, 449 calorie breakfast instead of a 409 calorie breakfast if it's sour cream. Plenty of fat, still rich and satisfying. It's a caffeinated morning with diet Snapple, where that's the one caffeinated drink I have, maybe 2 if it's a long morning. The same 4 spices that we did in the other shows. Change it up as you feel like it, anything you want to do. It's analog, right? So then there's the omelet, getting pretty hard. The spices are on the right side. The vegetables have been pulled towards me in the pan. Then dig those vegetables with the spatula and spread them out in the middle. Then get the spatula underneath. This new pan is really nice, easy to work with. Get the thing flipped over, right side first, left side, pat it down. There's the 6 pieces of cheese starting to melt in the pan. Then get it out of the pan onto a plate. Today it's sriracha sauce and the Morehouse creamy horseradish sassy sauce. So that's 449 calories. Now the chicken chili, that starts with the chicken, 372 grams frozen with the plastic that I wrap up around it. I get it out of the plastic, put it out on this Corelware plate, unbreakable plate, pop that in the microwave. And this time I actually jotted down 3 minutes in the microwave. So you can see here it is after 3 minutes. The tips are starting to cook already. it's mostly thawed. So then I can take it and cut them into finer strips longwise, right? So the microwaves will be able to get around it. I pop that back in, same trick, paper towels on top so it doesn't splatter. Now you can see it's mostly done, but still a little undercooked right in the middle. So we're going to put that back in for 2 more minutes. Meanwhile, the vegetables are about here, right? I'm about halfway through the vegetables. Things are going good. The meat cooks just sitting a little bit. So after 2 minutes, you can see I made a note. 2 more minutes, the chicken's completely cooked through, and it's ready to go. So I pick it off the plate because there'll be fat in the plate. Now it's 279 grams, and I jot that down on my little notepad to calculate how much. Get the knife out, chop this up into nice small bite-sized chunks. Every spoon is going to have a little bit of chili and a little bit of chicken. Then the chili is, I prefer Hormel, no beans. So I get that chili, it's I think 330 calories, more than I thought. That goes in and then stir everything up. Same thing like we're going to do today. You know, go around twice, dig 6 times each time around. Get stirred up really nice. Then here's the food waste, because it's before grocery day, so there's a lot of food waste. That goes in the freezer so it doesn't stink up the house. Then the recycling, I wash out the cans and stuff. All this is while stuff is cooking, right? So just busying myself while the microwave's doing its magic, 4 times, 2-3 minutes each. Here it is, out of the microwave, ready to go, piping hot. You know, great meal, totally satisfying. And then here's the surprising thing. It was only 870 calories for both days, 435 calories a day. So that's lower than average. Then about 5-6 o'clock, I make my 5-cup coffee maker coffee, 1 cup whole milk, 150 calories. Same deal as I get through the halfway through, I add a bunch of ice and ice it up. So today with the cheese, 449 calories, plus the meal, plus the coffee, 1,034 calories. All right, so that's the top and bottom shells. Note that I cut the olives in half because there have been a pit in there about once or twice a year and you don't want to break a tooth. And the green beans, I measure out 84 grams because I can't keep them fresh. The one bag lasts 8 days. It's a pretty big bag. You can't buy it in smaller quantities. So that means I get to chop up 84 grams, a fourth of that bag of green beans. Then the other trick to keep the green beans fresh a little longer is leave them open. Oops, the peas go. I didn't do the peas, did I? I'm back. Okay, let's measure out the peas. One little thing changes, 23 grams, close enough to 22. All right, now we can put the peas back in the freezer because they didn't have fresh peas. Now we can get the gravy. All right, so here's the low sodium. I don't know, I just figure reduce sodium for those reasons we learned eating all that pastrami. No, it'll just open. So I always ask for 1 big slice. The people at Publix always slice it too thin. So I ended up with 2 slices. But it's pretty big in diameter. First, let's weigh this and jot it down, because that's going to be critical. Make a note on our pad here. Turkey, 339 grams. And we'll multiply that, I think 0.89 grams per, 89 calories per gram. Then line it up and kind of cube these off. Since there's 2 slices here, I make it a little wider cut because you're cutting 2 at once. This is all pretty straightforward stuff. Let's see, about half of these come over here. Here's a cube, and a lot of protein. Now this big bowl is for 2 days. We're going to split it next for today and tomorrow. But this is a lot of protein, right? But high protein and doing exercise for older guys like me keeps from muscle wasting. Go here. Get this one. Because both the turkey tends to be a little lower calories than some other proteins. It's kind of like fishing. Fish, turkey, chicken, I think of as the lower calorie ones. And as well as the gravy being 100 calories instead of something like clam chowder or cream of mushroom soup and sour cream, my poor man stroganoff. That allows us to splurge on the gorgonzola. So let's see, okay, we've already had 1 cup of this. So we're gonna put in the next cup. Get our favorite little spoon. Let's drag this here. Did I show this? I think I did. It's just Heinz. There it is. Came out mostly clean. Once again, I should have pushed the vegetables a little down before I did this so I don't get as messy, but I've kind of resigned myself. Got that. Now we can go and it's ready for the recycling. I use paper towels because regular towels have bacteria and aren't as hygienic. Paper towels are sustainable. They don't cut down old growth forests for it. Okay, so let's spread this out a little bit. And twice around, 6 times each. So once in the stabbing motion you got to do. 2. 3, 4, 5, a lot of gravy there, and 6. Same thing, a lot of gravy coming up, that's good. It's getting half stirred, right? So let's do it again. Dig down. 1, and now it's getting more uniform. 2, try to get the center a little bit there. 3, here's 4, that was a good one. Here's 5. The gravy kind of tips us off how well stirred it is, but it's also taking care of distributing the turkey. And I like cutting it up into these things because that way when I eat this bowl, every single spoonful will have some turkey. Let me get the rest of this. Okay. A couple odds and ends. It's a little messy. So now we're going to do the split. This big bowl is for meals today and tomorrow. So tomorrow, it'll be 40 minutes. I do the show real time, so you can see 40 minutes, you make a meal for 2 days. Main meal. So zero out the scale. Gently set it on top of the scale. Oh, it's a heavy one today. 3,033. Make sure I zeroed that. Yep, 3,033. Get the calculator. Turn it on. 3,033. Subtract the weight of the bowl, minus 1,513. That's 1,520 food. Divide that by 2, because that's what the whole point of this is. Now add the weight of the bowl back in. 1,513. That's 2,273. Jot that down. 2,273. Okay, that's what we're trying to hit. So get the little bowl for tomorrow. These are Endureglass. Used to be Visionware by Corning, but they went out of business or stopped being nice. So Endureglass. There'll be, I think, links to this I'll have down in the description. Push it in so the stuff doesn't end on the floor. Be patient, just hold it at an angle for the longest time. Get the spoon out. Start digging this stuff out. Try to get some of the center because that usually stays a little bit dry. Kind of half stirring as I go. Let's see how close. 2391, so not enough. Look how full this little bowl, same portions, right? Look how full this little bowl is getting. Let me dig some more out. 2376, so it's 100 grams heavy. We got a lot of food to transfer. 2335, trying to hit 2273. 2300 even. It's piling into this little bowl. 2084. 73, oh, right on the money. Another Adrian Monk day. 2273, the exact number. Clean up. Jot down that, yep, it's 2273. We split it perfectly. Then cover this one up and get it right in the refrigerator. Food safety. Don't leave stuff laying out where all the bacteria in the air hits it. Then here you can kind of shake it. You can stir it up because now the bowl's a lot emptier. Make sure the turkey and the gravy are spread evenly. Kind of get all this here. Get the top for this big bowl. All right, so now we're going to set up and show you how to heat this up. 4 sessions in the microwave, 2, maybe 3 minutes, and stirring in between. So we'll go over that, all right? So let's get it in the microwave. Come over here, we get a towel. Pull one towel out. We're going to put the tops on this towel to keep track of how many times we've done it, because I used to lose count a lot. Close it. The first one, let's do 3 minutes. So we're sure it's nice and hot. Come back here, and while that's cooking, our 3-minute topic today is analog, not digital, not extremes. So you look politics, religion, music, the choice of lovers, all these things, food, are very personal, separate things that people don't all agree on. Thank heavens. So analog means I'm doing it this way with all, the vegetables I think is important. A little digital in that no refined carbohydrates, no rice, I'm not even doing beans, although there's good protein in beans as well. No bread, no pasta, minimal potatoes, right? Hardly have any, but it is analog. I'm not saying that you can't have these things. If get your blood work checked like I do, I used to, the pandemic's interfered. As long as your blood work's showing okay, your A1C's down, your glucose, for me, just leaving all that refined stuff out, basing it on all these vegetables is a way that gets me a lot of fiber that I need. Then the vegetables bring the carbohydrates that your brain needs the glucose to run on, right? If you do this keto thing, you're going to be kind of grumpy, or Atkins, you're going to be grumpy because your body has to make the carbohydrates for the glucose for your brain to run. So you don't want to be like that. But it's analog, the portions. I'm measuring stuff real precise, just my OCD. You can kind of get an idea. What's important is, are you weighing yourself? Maybe not every day, but periodically to make sure, are you cheating? Like when I gained that weight the last year, that was cheating where today, well, let's say I'd have something with Alfredo sauce, which is in theory a cheese, butter kind of based sauce. I'd add Parmesan cheese, right, on top. So the calories were going 1,300 for the lunch bowl for 2 days, right? But still, twice. Now it's more in the 1,000, sometimes under. One of these this last week, you'll see, was 800 and some calories. So that analog thing of, my friend sent me a book about olive oil, acted like it was a medicine. You can achieve this and get your blood work, do exactly what I say. Don't trust any of that, right? Everything's analog. You can cheat a little here or cheat a little here, but if you did what I did, cheat a little everywhere, don't weigh myself every day, or at least periodically, eat nuts and cheese at night that I didn't used to, make the main lunch bowls a little heavier with cheese, or letting those calories creep up. Well, that's a little too analog, all right? So it's analog, doesn't have to be super strict. Let's go mix up this first batch. So that was 3 minutes. I put a little pad down. Now we're going to mark this here so we'll know it's been heated once. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Shake it, get the stuff down. Okay. So I'm going to do 2 minutes. And the 2-minute topic, there's this famous author, Michael Pollan, wrote a famous book. The first sentence, because I'm a writer, it stuck in my head. The first sentence of the book was, eat food, mostly plants, not too much. And all packed into that first sentence, that lead sentence was, all this, Fritos and all this sugar and salt and junk, standard American diet, it's not really food, right? It's more like a drug. And you can get addicted to those drugs. I know because I used to be addicted. Plants, he's big on the vegetarian, vegan side of things. I disagree with that. I'm in the analog balance. I agree about the no junk food and no refined carbohydrates. But when it comes to the overall macronutrients, there's 3 of them, about an even blend of all 3. Carbs in the vegetables, protein in fish, meat, whatever, turkey today, and then fats. And the fats have a lot of calories and not a ton of nutrition, but they satisfy you and take a long time to digest. So you're not always going nuts craving food, middle of the night kind of thing. I wanted to mention my mom who, definitely, was trying to she kept her weight under control her whole life until she was 84, passed away. She made a fundamental error because she bought this, all fat is bad and never eat fat. So my dad was diabetic, right? He had a weight problem his whole life. So she'd buy all these low-fat foods. And if you look at them, and this is on the internet, you can look all this up. The way they make low-fat foods is they take the fat out, so it tastes like junk. So then they put sugar in. So all these low-fat foods she was buying for my diabetic dad had a ton of sugar in it. She'd have been better off. Now, this science didn't even start to come. And there is some established science. She'd have been better off letting him have the fat and keeping the sugar under control. So, next. Okay, slap that down. So we got 2 rings on that towel to remind us. When there's 3 and it's done the 4th time, I think that's number 6. I didn't even count them out. Like everything, it's analog, right? Stir it a little, stir it a lot, whatever. Another 2 minutes. Okay. Now, because some people might be watching, boy, this guy doesn't cheat, he's being measuring everything. I want to talk about willpower. I read an interesting thing years ago. The guy said, well, it's said that fat people, like I was, they don't have willpower. That's their problem. This guy pointed out it's actually the other way. They have tremendous willpower because even though they've got diabetes and high blood pressure and bad back pain, they keep eating and eating and eating. That's tremendous willpower, right? In the face of killing yourself, dying young, you keep up that behavior. A lot of willpower to do that. And there's an aspect to human behavior which is stubbornness. And you get into that stubborn thinking. And this touches on, I think, the first episode we did where I talked about the 5 stages of food grief, where you're denying you got a problem, where you're angry that other people can eat and you can't. Then you start all the bargaining. That's where most of us are. Well, I'll have 1 serving of vegetables once a week, and that's my healthy lifestyle. So the willpower has to be that same stubbornness you had of, I'm a good boy. Mommy says I can have my ice cream, which was probably my mentality, right? And never put it in a tiny little bowl so it looks like a lot. Measure it out, understand how much I'm eating. Now, get the whole carton, because, who likes to wash dishes, right? So get the whole carton and a tablespoon and just start eating that ice cream. And that's my do, right? That's my mentality. So that willpower, you're not going to not have willpower and have you always had the willpower. You're just going to transfer that willpower to a beneficial result. The things I joke about being OCD, where, no, I'm going to keep track of stuff. I'm going to weigh myself. I'm going to weigh all the portions. I am going to write stuff down, even though I don't really have to. You get a pretty good sense of when you're cheating and when you're doing too much. And make that tea ceremony aspect, make a big aspect out of it, and then apply that willpower to good habits instead of bad ones. Next. Okay. We got 2 rings here. Pull it out. Here's the 3rd ring. That's the last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A little extra. Get our pad. Two minutes. Okay. Well, let's get cheese while we're thinking about this. We get our gorgonzola cheese. This happens to be reduced fat. It's going to be 70 calories for, so lots of, oops. So I'll get this, it's 113. We're going to put half on today, half on tomorrow. So 56 grams I'm going to measure out. So part of this whole analog theme, this, it is analog. I've seen diets, you just got to stop going to restaurants. That's incredibly cruel, right? In other words, wipe out a big part of your social life, wipe out a very enjoyable thing that many Americans, people all over the world enjoy, but don't eat in restaurants because, you can't be on a diet and eat in restaurants. Absolute lie. Don't believe any of that. Because before the pandemic, I was taking my friend Shirley, 98 years old, I was taking her out twice a week. She was my mom's best friend when my mom lived in the retirement community. Visited my mom every day in the nursing home. So I thought when I moved here, the least I could do was go out with Shirley. You got to watch, right? So yeah, go to the restaurant 2-3 times a week, but go to a place like there's a place out here called First Watch, where the menu, especially if you go online, you can do additions and subtractions, and it will tell you exactly, that's 55 is close enough, it'll tell you exactly how many calories that meal is. For Sunday, every Sunday, we went to Wendy's. Her son had bought her one of those free Frosty things at Wendy's, so we took advantage of that on the way home. But she had her little junior hamburger, and I would have, where I used to eat, double cheeseburger and fries and all that, now I have the Wendy's salad, Southwest chicken. Add those calories up, and you can control your caloric intake just like you do here. Just read up on it and measure it, all right? We'll get this back. So we got our 3 rings, which means we can cut this in half, use it as a pot holder now, get this out, come over here, all right, now let's get the cheese on this. We'll be back in a flash. All right, so we did that. My math went, I said, geez, 70 calories times 4, that's 280? That can't be right. Yeah, it's only 280 calories for this, for 2 days. So, here, we do one more mix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get it down off the edges. There's a ton of food in here. Here's gorgonzola cheese. Maybe I'll get that out. Sometimes I like to, I don't know if I showed that well enough. It's reduced fat. That's what threw me off. I remember it being 400 calories. But this, they all look almost identical. A lighter color red, reduced fat gorgonzola. I didn't buy it to replace this, but live and learn. So there we have it. I'll do the little sheet that I'll add up, after I'm done, after I have this nice hot meal. I'll add up the turkey calories and the gravy and the gorgonzola cheese. This is what today's calories were for this. With the cheese on that omelet, that's 449. And then tonight I'll have a coffee, 150 calories, due to the 1 cup of whole milk that I had in this 32 ounces of coffee that I make. So that'll still get me, I can't do it in my head, but it'll be, 1,000, 1,100 probably when we're done. So that is turkey, gravy, gorgonzola cheese, made real time, about 40 minutes, so 20 minutes a day if you average it out. Sportster Paul Analog Diet Week 5. We're doing good. Catch you next time. Bye now.